This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. I don't know how this can happen, and quite frankly, I don't think I care how we get to this point. But whatever we need to do to not have a quarterback competition next year, I'm all for it. I'm already tired of this year's quarterback competition, and maybe it's fatigue left over from the season-long quarterback competition that we had last year. Maybe I'm already annoyed at all the stupid trackers that people are going to put out during training camp and OTAs. Maybe I'm going to be annoyed because we're going to have another round of people talking about practice stats. Maybe I'm just pre-annoyed by the conversation, or maybe the conversation has just naturally gotten to a place of annoying already, or maybe this is 25 years of, has it been 25? 26 years, my bad. As far as since the Browns have come back since 99 of quarterback competitions. I'm annoyed. I'm already tired of it. Part of me really just wants people to wait until the actual quarterback competition is happening before coming out with these wild swings, right? We talked about it last week with Mary Kay, basically pronouncing the quarterback competition over after like 2 OTA, not even OTAs, like pre-OTA practices. She's like, the Browns should just give all the reps to Deshaun Watson. I'm hearing great stuff. And like, if you watch my video on that, I think I have good background on thinking where Mary Kay's getting that information and from the people that she's getting that information from. I don't think Mary Kay is making it up. You know, I know that's going to be an easy assumption for a lot of people to make because Mary Kay is not the most popular beat reporter, to say the least, in Cleveland. But I don't think she's making it up. I think she is incentivized, though, to run with information that she's getting from other people who are also incentivized. And I think that information is likely coming from the J.W. Johnson side of the building and not football ops, because football ops seems pretty amused at this whole situation while, you know, Mary Kay is getting that information from somewhere. Oh, where would that be? Probably J.W. Johnson, right? Who, if you listen to him on his media calls, is perfusive with his praise of Deshaun Watson, clearly has a liking of Deshaun Watson on a personal level. So that's my whole theory on why we're hearing the noise about Deshaun. I think there are some people in the building that want that Deshaun thing to work. I know that there's some people in the building who are kind of annoyed with the trappings of Shadeur Sanders, right? One sticking point that has been relayed to me and countless other people who cover the team is the annoyance at having a quarterback who has a cameraman, right? Somebody who's going to like stop a press conference so his cameraman can get into place. And little things like that. Certainly there are people in the building that don't love that, but I don't think these people are in the building that feel the way about that are any of the critical football ops people. I think this is just coming from people who legitimately just work there, right? There's certainly a split, right, of people who are for the kind of attention and hype that you get with somebody like Shadeur and are against it, right? And naturally, when you're against it, you're probably going to default to Deshaun Watson, right? But here's my thing about this quarterback competition. We need to stop acting like we know. We know, or we can assume good things out this quarterback room. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to be a hater or anything. I'm just being realistic here, right? There are massive question marks about Shadeur Sanders based on what Shadeur Sanders did on the football field the last time we saw them. And there are massive question marks about Deshaun Watson, to the point to where I really don't care what they do in shorts and a t-shirt. You know, if Shadeur Sanders is looking buffer and had a good OTA, okay, doesn't really move me at this point. The same thing as if Deshaun Watson looks great at OTAs in the shorts and a t-shirt. I mean, we've been here 4 times with Deshaun Watson. How many times in the spring have we been told that Deshaun Watson looks amazing? Deshaun Watson's starting to look like Deshaun. It looks like he's healthy again. His feet have gotten so much better. The work in him and Quincy Avery are doing behind the scenes, it's really showing. We've literally been here every single year with Deshaun Watson, since we've had him in spring program, especially, right? So 2023, we certainly heard the rumblings of 2023. 2024, we certainly heard the rumblings. Oh, he looks good. He looks recovered. He looks like his feet are really good. He's lost some weight. 2025, people were speculating that Deshaun looked so good in rehab that he was going to come back for training camp in August. And then now we're hearing the regular Deshaun Watson hype. At this point, I'm not going to say it's impossible for Deshaun Watson to be good. I certainly don't believe in it, me personally, but it's not impossible. Just because I don't believe in something doesn't make it impossible. But what I will say is that I'm certainly suggesting that most people be at the place to where we should want to see it, okay, before we make any assumptions about what Deshaun Watson is or is not going to be for this football team, or more importantly, what he's going to be able to provide positively for this football team. Because you've been able to assume negative things about Deshaun Watson in the spring and be correct multiple years in a row. You've not been able to make the same with positive assumptions with Deshaun Watson. So I'm not going to assume that Deshaun Watson is back because he had a couple of good practices in the spring. And I'm going to be honest with you, until I see it in actual regular season games for a sustained period of time, I'm not going to really buy into it until it's like physically here, because I think that's the level of trust that we should have with Deshaun Watson. He's been bad, routinely bad. We've had this whole thing overhyped to us for multiple years. At this point, I don't care until he actually plays in games, because his issue hasn't been his feet as much as it's been his brain, right? Like, we're trying to boil down all this Deshaun Watson stuff to physical stuff. Oh, he just hasn't been healthy. Sometimes people are trying to blame it on the Kevin Stefanski playbook as if it was like impossible to have any level of success in Kevin's offense. Maybe it wasn't the greatest fit in the world, but you don't go to looking as bad as Deshaun Watson did if it's just the offense, right? So it's just so many things have gone wrong with Deshaun Watson, and so many of those things are rooted with his ability to mentally execute in a game that I just don't care what he does in practice right now. I just don't care what he does in shorts and a t-shirt with no live rush. His issue has been he's not been a confident decision maker. He's lacked confidence there, and that lack of confidence has made him indecisive, and that indecisiveness has made him a terrible quarterback. Now, if he starts looking decisive during the regular season, okay, all right. He does that for 2-3 games in a row. Now we can start talking about it. Well, not start talking about it, but now we can start getting excited about something there, right? But don't expect me to get excited, and don't expect a large chunk of Browns fans to get excited because he's posting cool clips on fucking Instagram, man. Like, I just, who cares? How can we be at that place with him after this time? I just don't care there. I don't have it in me to get excited about Deshaun Watson again until he actually does something worthwhile of the excitement. And I don't think that's a wrong place for Browns fans to be at. I think that's a completely fair place for him to be at. I think that's 100% the right place to be at. So as far as Deshaun Watson goes, I don't care what they're trying to hype up right now. I know what he was in 2024, and until he proves that assumption wrong, I have to assume that that's the quarterback that he is, because he's only gotten older, he's only taken more games off, more days off, and he's only gotten more injured over the last year. So I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you positive assumptions about Deshaun Watson when for 4 years, positive assumptions about Deshaun Watson has proven to be wrong. You know what Deshaun Watson is? Deshaun Watson is like dealing with an unreliable employer, right? Now, hopefully, most of you guys have never had to deal with this, but sometimes you can have a job. Maybe it's a smaller company. Maybe it's a less than official role or whatever it is, but you could work somewhere and they can have issues with payroll sometimes. And sometimes the paycheck come in every other Wednesday. Sometimes it doesn't, right? And after you deal with that, after the check is late 2 or 3 times, you learn to never assume the money is in the account, right? You always check before you leave the office on Friday of the pay week to make sure that that money's in your account so you can go talk to somebody about getting that money in your account. And that's what Deshaun Watson is. I'm not about to assume, based on what you talking about, that money gonna be there, right? See, I used to do like freelance video work and like photography back in the day. So when you do that kind of work, there are some clients who are good. They'll pay you up front. You solid. There are others who think payment is optional, right? Like they can wait you out and maybe you forget about it, or maybe they could change the terms of it and haggle the price of it. And after you deal with that second type of client more than like a couple of times, you start to just not listen to the bullshit they're saying. Either you got the money or you don't. I don't really care that you're trying to tell me that you're going to refer me to a bunch of people, or that this job's going to bring in work once we get funding or something like that. Like, please spare me the bullshit. Do you got the money or not, right? That's exactly where I am with Deshaun Watson. I do not care about what they're selling. I just want to know if the money's in the account or not. Until we got actual games of this man playing winning quarterback in Cleveland in 2026, I ain't buying any of the speculative stuff on him. That's just where I'm at on Deshaun. And I don't think that's unfair. I think Deshaun actually has earned that from Browns fans. Now, we're going to talk about Shadeur, but before I do that, I got to thank my sponsor, PrizePicks. Hey, let me talk to you about my sponsor for this year, PrizePicks. It's a fun way to win cash while you're watching your favorite teams. Forget complex betting rules. Their app is designed to be incredibly easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Speaking of, here are my picks for this upcoming NFL season. They have Myles Garrett at 14 sacks here. I think he will get more than 14 sacks. Joe Burrow at 3,875 passing yards. I think he'll be a 4,000-yard passer. I'm going to go with more. They have Derrick Henry at 1,224 yards. I'm going to go less than that. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You can follow me on the app at KWEN_C to see all of my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app using the link in the description. All right, let's talk about Shadeur Sanders. Now, look, Shadeur has certainly not exhausted Cleveland Browns fans on the field, and he certainly has not earn the level of speculation or skepticism is the better word that Deshaun Watson has earned over the last 4 years. That being said, his rookie year wasn't the most impressive, right? It definitely had some pretty big flaws in there. Some of these flaws, you have more hope that they can be fixed. Some of these flaws, you have less hope that they can be fixed. Some of these flaws are just flaws. You know, they just exist. Not that big of a deal. Some of these flaws are critical. Now, there are things that Shadeur brings to the table, right? That makes him appealing, right? And the same thing is true with Deshaun, right? The one thing I will say with Deshaun that he does have an advantage on is, even though his play has been terrible, he has not thrown a lot of interceptions. And that might go further than people think, because if the Browns are going to run the ball a lot, the one thing they don't want is turnovers. And if Deshaun isn't going to turn the ball over, then, you know, maybe that's a better option if they're not blown away with Shadeur Sanders to go with, which I could certainly understand the logic there. I'm not going to be super optimistic about it, but, you know, I can understand the logic being there. With Shadeur, there are things that are there for Shadeur. Shadeur, pretty accurate passer. Shadeur is capable of making some really accurate throws, especially when he's given time downfield, right? Like, he has an ability to fit windows at times that other quarterbacks don't really have the ability to fit windows into. And I think that is something that Shadeur brings to the table, right? We talked about it last year. He has a lot of icing on the cupcake, but there's not a lot of cupcake there, right? Like there's not a lot of meat and potatoes to that meal, but he can get you dessert. And I think that needs to be understood. If you're wondering like why the Shadeur fandom is what it is, why Shadeur stands think what they think of him, like a lot of these Shadeur stands, not all of them, but some of these Shadeur stands, they're casual viewers of the NFL, right? They're not diehard fans of the Cleveland Browns. They're probably diehard fans of other teams, but they have a little bit of an interest in Shadeur, and they don't have as much time as like Browns fans do to parse over every down of every game. But what they can do is see the highlights that they're going to be curated on social media. And if you look at just Shadeur's highlights, like there's stuff there that gets you excited. The problem with Shadeur is that the highlights aren't the ability to generate highlights is not the problem with Shadeur. He has an ability to generate highlights. If you start him 17 games this year, I don't know what our win-loss record will be. I don't know what his interception number will be, but I will say that he will have a healthy highlight tape. Like there's going to be a lot of throws there that look cool, that are going to be big plays, right? They're going to be exciting to fans. And I think, when you are dealing with the Browns quarterback issues over the last few years, which is on top of it being bad, it's been boring. Anybody who provides any level of excitement is going to find some love in his fan base. That's why Jameis Winston is beloved by Cleveland Browns fans, despite only playing like 5 games for the team overall, because he provided a level of excitement that wasn't here. And I think Shadeur is certainly capable of providing excitement, but excitement doesn't win football games, right? And the Browns aren't trying to schedule this quarterback competition off excitement alone. They want somebody who's going to be capable of winning football games, and that's where Shadeur's biggest flaws are, in my opinion. He's bad at stuff that you need quarterbacks to be good at in the NFL to win games. All right, so here's what I mean when I say this, right? That he does some stuff that I don't think is conducive to winning. I think this play is a great example of Shadeur's philosophy at quarterback in how he needs to improve to earn more trust from coaching staffs in the NFL. What you're going to have here is Jerry Jeudy on an out. It is 3rd and 5. This is the game situation, right? It's 3rd and 5, 4th quarter, and there's 1 minute left. What's the score? It's 23 Baltimore, 16 Cleveland. So Cleveland can tie this game up with a touchdown and an extra point. The Browns also have 2 timeouts left. Now, the reason I'm pointing all of this stuff out is because all of this is important in judging this play, right? Like if we just look at the ball here on this play, we go and we have a very different thought process about this play. Oh, Gage should have caught that, right? That's what you think when you just follow the ball here. You're not paying attention to the context here. But when you do pay attention to the context that it is 3rd and 5, that it is 1 minute left in the game, that you are down 7, and that you do have 2 timeouts in the 4th quarter here, then you look at this play very different, because what we have here is Gage and then Jerry Jeudy on the out, right? Let's assume this is a half-field read. So this is all that matters right here, right? And if you're Shadeur, if this is a half-field read, these are the 3 players right here that you're keeping an eye on, this triangle, right? If they're showing high, right, if they go to cover 4, which they're in the shell of right now, if we look at the shell of this defense, they're in cover 4. That means back, because you have this 9 dragging that cornerback, and you have back, which means there's going to be a natural void here in this defense because you're expecting Jerry Jeudy to win off this. But if this guy shows that he's in zone coverage as well underneath, if he's playing this kind of deep middle here, then you absolutely have a wide open zone here pre-snap to go to Jerry Jeudy. So he should absolutely be your number 1 read here. This is who is supposed to get the ball here. I'm almost 100% confident that pre-snap in the play call, this is what they told him to look for, right? If we if we get this look, if we get a 4 shell, because Baltimore's shown 4 high in this situation a ton before, we're going to look at this half of the field and we're going to take this out because that should be open. That's what you want them to do. That's the right game management situation to do, because you can get out of bounds potentially, or you can use one of your 2 timeouts to stop the clock. And you will get a fresh set of downs to continue the game and try to score and tie this game up. So when we look at how this plays out, I mean, like, they're in a 4 shell. It's pretty obvious. They're blitzing over top of it. And again, what does Shadeur have to read here, right? What are they asking Shadeur to read? They're asking him to read these 3 defenders. So if you see that the slot defender is blitzing, then you should automatically get that ball to Jerry Jeudy. That's exactly what you're supposed to do, right? Slot defender blitzes, boom. It's wide open right there, right? That's wide open. We can replay it again. So instead of taking what you're supposed to right here, right, which is Jerry Jeudy, it's quick. If Jerry catches that, Gage can block his man, and Jerry might be able to score. He's definitely going to get to the 10, might even get to the 5, might even be able to get to the 5 and get out of bounds and save your timeout. All of these things are exactly what you want in this play situation. If you're a play caller, you just hit gold. This is exactly what you're looking for. But instead of taking this, which is his number 1 receiver, I know, look, it's Jerry Jeudy. People have their opinions about Jerry Jeudy, but you're supposed to throw this. There's no excuse. I don't want to hear, oh, he can't trust Jerry Jeudy. Like, that can't be a serious excuse. It could be a funny joke on the internet, but it can't be a serious excuse not to throw this football. This is exactly where that ball has to go. Instead of doing that, what does he choose? He chooses a one-on-one matchup to a practice squad wide receiver in Gage Larvin over Cheeto Awuzie, who isn't a Pro Bowler anymore, but was a Pro Bowler a few years ago. So it's just a horrific decision at this time, and it's rooted in what Sanders likes to do. He likes to go for those highlight plays more than he likes to run the offense sometimes. And that can be a problem that affects winning games, because I'll tell you right now which attempt here has the better chance for the Browns to tie this game. It's not this. This has maybe a 30% chance of being completed. This right here, 90% chance of being completed, almost 100%, or 90% chance of being completed and getting the first down and extending the game. Instead, you leave it up to a 50-50 ball with a receiver who's not that good. And look, to Shadeur's credit, the throw is very nice. It's a good throw. Good throw. He got the full 30% odds of that happening because that throw gave that wide receiver a chance. But that's absolutely not the decision you can make in that moment. It's just not. Because, again, look at the defense. Look at what we're like. I'm not even trying to say, oh, he should have saw this post-snap. Look at what we're looking at pre-snap right here, right? Just look at the indicators here. You're getting a 4 high shell, so they know pressure's coming, because look at this. They're already loading the line of scrimmage up. They're sending us some pressure. So you already, if you're Shadeur Sanders, have to be on high alert here. They're showing pressure, right? They're showing a lot of sim pressure. So if you're Shadeur, you should be on high alert here. Hey, something's up. Who are they going to send? They're definitely not going to send him. Okay. So the alert can't be, oh, I might get a free one-on-one look here with my practice squad guy. No, he's not really in the play. He's just running a 9 to clear this out, right? This is what you want to hit. Also, you have the added benefit of like, hey, look how close. If you're Shadeur, you should peep out. Look how close this guy is to the line of scrimmage. He's definitely a threat to blitz. Let me look at these 3 guys as I drop back and let the defense make the decision for me instead of trying to make a big-time splash play here. Let the defense make the decision for me. This is a basic read here. You got to be able to make that. I've talked about this before. I don't think the issue with Shadeur Sanders is that he cannot read defenses or he doesn't know football, right? I think that's an easy assumption to make when you see stuff like that, right? And there's been multiple plays where you watch Shadeur play and you're like, well, what's going on here, right? I don't think that's the case. I think Shadeur kind of plays football like how somebody who's really good at Madden plays Madden. And that means to me that he likes the big play hunt, right? He's more interested in hunting a big play than running the offense because he has to know that that's where the ball needs to go. But he's thinking, oh, well, they're going to go to that. I'm going to get a one-on-one look. I'm just going to try to get that deep ball to get the big play. He has to mature from the way of looking at the game. His way of looking at the field, it just has to mature because the quarterback that's going to get the job, the quarterback that's going to win games for the Cleveland Browns is the quarterback that's going to throw this ball to Jerry Jeudy here, right? That's the quarterback that's going to win the game. That's the quarterback that's going to put the Browns in position to win. Again, when you're just following the ball and you're seeing this highlight on a broadcast tape and you're like, oh, man, he almost made a big play there. When you look at the all 22, you start to wonder, like, hey, why didn't this ball get out here? Because first down markers right here, and Jerry Jeudy has nobody on him right now. Nobody on him. You could throw this thing easily and get the first down. But instead, we're taking a deep ball. So again, if Shadeur wants to be the starting quarterback, wants to be useful for the Browns to win, it's not impossible. He is capable of doing it. And look, the accuracy that he demonstrates on that same throw is something that you want to harness. But he has to mature and be more disciplined in how he goes through these plays. It's one thing when things break down to go out there and make a big play. Got no problem with that. But if the design of the play is correct, you have to be comfortable with taking that. I talk about this all the time. The best quarterbacks, the trait that separates them, the quarterbacks that are able to win games consistently and win Super Bowls consistently versus the ones who aren't, these quarterbacks are okay with being boring, right? This jump with Josh Allen. You watch Josh Allen the first couple of years, he's exciting. You watch Josh Allen when he made the leap to being an all-pro MVP level quarterback, he is boring to watch almost. Tom Brady, boring to watch unless you really know what you're looking at, right? Like, these are quarterbacks who are okay with doing the right thing, and the right thing might be boring sometimes. Shadeur has to make that jump there. If Shadeur can do that and just run the offense a little bit more, we're not even talking about being on time all the time, but just saying to himself, no on trying to make a big play out of nowhere and just letting the offense and the defense make these decisions for him. If he can do that, then there is somebody who can be a starting quarterback in the NFL there in Shadeur. But he has to do that because a decision like that, if you make that enough at the beginning of the season, it's going to get you benched. You know, that's just the reality of it, right? You got to make the decisions. That's just the reality of it, right? Sometimes Shadeur is so eager for deep balls and big plays that he lets a layup go right past his face without looking at it. He can't let that happen in 2026. He has to just take advantage of what's there. Do more often of taking what the defense is giving you. Because if you turn the ball over a ton, you're not going to start for this team for that long. And if you're missing opportunities like that in those kind of situations, then you're not going to be the quarterback here long, right? So that's what Shadeur has to answer for. And we'll get a better feel for that when he plays this year. And also, I think another thing we need to which brings me to my final point about this quarterback competition and why I'm kind of tired of it. I kind of feel like we're going to see both these quarterbacks play during the regular season. I think we're going to see some Deshaun. I think we're going to see some Shadeur. So who wins the competition only really determines the order of that flipping to me. I don't think it's going to stop. Like if Shadeur wins the job, there's a good chance that he makes some mistakes early on. They put Deshaun in and maybe they put Shadeur back in, right? If Deshaun wins the job, I think there's a chance that they get kind of stale on offense. They look for a spark. They bring in Shadeur. I think we're going to see both of these guys. So I don't think the winner of this competition is going to determine who I have to watch for 17 games. I think we're going to see them both. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.